Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Chauskas. Today is the 25th of September 2018. So welcome everyone, and welcome to this afternoon Tuesday session, where we're going to have a look at a few instruments. I believe they're quite forgotten, but yep. I think you could find it interesting. So yep, but before we start looking at the charts, as always guys, we need to run through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so let's not waste any more time and let's jump into a few charts here. Now the first one I want to touch on is Nikkei. Now Nikkei, well, very interesting chart here. This is I was looking at this one a few weeks ago, and now this is where it's developing nicely. So we had our nice break here through this resistance zone here at around 23,050. So we've broken it to the upside here, and now of course we continue to push higher. Certainly the big level to watch here, the next potential good area of resistance to watch is of course the 24,140, approximately there, marked by the high that we saw here around the January time. So yep, it's coming closer to that level, and certainly at the moment it's looking quite bullish. We can actually get rid of a few arrows here, so we can, as you can see it also in a slightly bigger picture, it continues to trade above its long-term upwards moving trend line, or should I say it's more of a support line. So continues to trade above that. This one has been taken from the around the 8th of September, the low of the 8th of September 2017. Also we do have this other slightly shorter term, we can call it a medium term upside support line here as well, and that's taken from the low of the 26th of March. So basically, in other words, we continue to push higher here, and of course the big question here is, are we gonna hit this high here, this year's high at around 24,140? Now of course that's unknown yet. It seems that yes, it is moving towards that direction, but just to kind of also guys to point out the level where it's sitting at right now. So from one side you could say that it's currently sitting here around this low that we saw on the 24th of January. So on that day's low we can see that yep, the index is stuck here. But to be honest, if we drag the chart a little bit back into history and we click on a monthly chart here, so just to kind of point out the level where we're sitting at right now, and this is exactly where it is. So we're currently sitting at January's highs that we saw in 1992. Now this is quite an impressive one, and the big question here is of course, are we going to have a break above that or not? Because even though we are not far from this year's high, which I've just mentioned, the 24,140 level, approximately there, of course, if of course the January's high that was last time seen around 1992, if that's going to break, then yep, potentially we could see a touch of that this year's high. But for now, of course, we're very cautious, because if that level holds, well, we could see a potential reversal here, maybe a bit of a correction to the downside. Certainly this is how it could be classed at the moment. Of course, I could see maybe a bit of a move here towards the 23,500. As you can see, this area here acted as also a very nice area of resistance, especially here given on the 1st of February this year. And we can see that it recently, well, in the mid-September, we had a nice gap here from that level here, and still this gap hasn't been filled. So maybe if this level here, this January's high of 1992 holds, and we'll see continue seeing a rejection here, then well, we could see maybe a drop down here initially towards the lows of this area here around 23,575, or even actually we could move all the way to fill in this little gap that we've got here and touch the 23,500. So for now, all eyes are on this 23,930 level, approximately there. Of course, maybe you could slightly put it a little bit higher towards the 23,950, but just in general, basically keep an eye on it, because if we do get a nice break above that, then yep, we could see further continuation towards the 24,140 in order to kind of test that level, or even actually break that level. And well, if we do get a break here, then we could move into new highs here for this year, of course, and yeah, we'll have to just evaluate it there. But for now, just keep on watching this level right here where it is currently sitting, because if it holds, we could see a bit of a correction here to the downside. Now let's jump into one commodity, or should I say one precious metal, and that's platinum. Now I was looking at this one a few weeks ago as well, and probably you can see by the arrows that I've still got here drawn. So if we just get rid of these for now, actually I'm going to leave this one, to be honest, because as you can see, we're at a very interesting spot here, and overall overall platinum has been trading here below this downside resistance line taken from the peak of the 25th of January, but recently, to be more precise, last week we've managed to break that to the upside, and then actually on Friday we've kind of moved back below it and kind of closed a little bit below it. But as you can see from this trading activity that we're seeing in the past few days, it's kind of thinking now, like we're thinking what to do basically, and the bulls and the bears are trying to figure out who's going to take the driver's seat from here. So basically keep your eyes on this one. Either this line is going to act as a very nice bouncing ground for a possible move higher here again, where we could aim for the 845.55 level, or maybe we could see a drop back down here, back below this downside resistance line. But to be honest, if we do get something like this, if we do get that drop below that line, then well, still not all is lost for the bulls, because we still have this quite an important support area here around this 809.55 level. Now a break below that could of course send this commodity a little bit lower, but the downside could be limited with due to this short-term, of course, upside support line taken from the lows of the mid-August. And if that holds, we could see another attempt of this, we could see of course a rejection here, and then another attempt of this longer-term downside resistance line here, which could potentially then be broken again. But of course, let's not get ahead of ourselves too much. So for now, just keep your eyes on this, keep your eyes on the activity, and of course on the closing price, and let's see where actually the where platinum is going to close here, because if it's going to close above this line and it's going to make a nice move higher, of course there is a possibility for further continuation to the upside. But for us to get more comfortable with the upside, we would need to see a nice good break and a close above this 845.55 level, and this way we could then aim for levels like 860 or even 878. So for now, keep your eyes on this downside resistance line. Let's jump into a few pairs, and the first one I want to touch on is the EURGBP. Now this one is a very interesting one, especially looking at this candle here that we saw on Friday. So basically last week, almost the whole week, it was trading just sideways. Like we saw these small candles here on the daily chart, but then coming in Friday, of course, as you know, the news came out from Britain, and we saw this nice spike to the upside here, where we broke the short-term downside resistance line here taken from the 28th of August. We broke it to the upside, we stayed above it, but we never closed above the another kind of let's probably call it more of a medium term upside support line. So we never kind of broke above it, we just kind of touched it from underneath and then just closed slightly below it. So and then we can see that on yesterday we had a slide lower, and again we're stuck here in this little area here between these two lines. So for now, to be honest, we're gonna wait and see, because it's at this point it's very tricky to say exactly where it's gonna go, because we need to get comfortable with we need to see initially some breaks here in order to get comfortable with either the upside or the downside. So on the upside on the upside, we're going to keep monitoring this level here, the highs that we saw last week, and of course this week. So and that's around the 0.8995 mark, so approximately there. So if we get a nice break here excuse me, if we get a nice break here above this, then yep, there is some potential for the pair to move higher. But again, if you're looking from something from more of a medium term or like maybe longer term, then we need to see a good comeback here from this pair above this support line, and then we can aim for higher levels, and that area here could be around the 0.9020, so something like that. So keep your eyes on that one. And especially on these two levels, the 0.8995 and the 0.9020. On the downside, well, if this suddenly gets back below this downside resistance line, the short-term downside resistance line, certainly this could open the path for lower levels, and especially if we get a close below this 0.8935 mark. Now this area here acted as a very good area of support yesterday, and also in the mid of September, so it acted as a very good area of resistance for that for this pair. So like I said, we need to see a nice good close here below this level here in order to kind of start positioning ourselves for maybe some lower levels where we could aim for the 0.8895, excuse me, or even actually lower. So there are some better levels to watch here, and of course, yep, we'll have to take it from there once if of course we see this break here to the downside. So for now, like I said, it is an interesting pair, but wait for the confirmation breaks. Let's jump into GBPCHF very quickly before I run out of time. And again, this is something similar here. We can see that now the pair is kind of stuck here within this little range here between the 1.2626 and on the downside, and the 1.2725 area on the upside. So we're stuck in this little range here. Certainly, as you can see, on Friday we've broken nicely to the downside. We've pushed. We've closed the day with this very strong bearish candle, but coming into Monday had a strong reversal, and to be honest, now we're seeing that we've almost regained all the lost grounds from Friday. So now we're getting stuck here just slightly below the 127.25. So for the bulls, for those who want to buy this one, wait for a break and a close above the 127.25 zone. Now this could potentially open the path towards higher levels like 128.20 or even higher, but for now just be very cautious here, because we could continue maybe trading sideways a little bit, and if this suddenly reverses back down and breaks below the 126.26 or 126.25 level, approximately there, of course, it could bring the pair back towards these lows that we saw around Friday, and that was around the 125.05. So yep, good level to watch as well. But again, like I said, for now, just be very careful and keep your eyes on these two levels. And the last pair quickly I really wanted to touch on, and that's USD Turkish Lira. Looking at this daily chart, as you can see, we've got a textbook formation here in a descending triangle. So currently it's trading within it, and of course before we make a move here, we need to wait for a break either through the lower side here or the upper side. Now of course the textbooks always say that the likelihood of this formation to break is to the downside, But then again, as you probably have traded before and you've seen a few of these breaking actually to the upside. So to be honest, instead of guessing or taking a position right now, wait until it breaks the either the lower side of it or the upper side of this formation. Because if we do get a break here below this level here around the 5.9720, something like that, of course, we could see maybe this one traveling all the way and testing the 5.70 mark approximately there. So that was near the lows of the 16th of August that we saw here. But if we do get a nice break and a close here above this upper side of this descending triangle formation, now you could start looking at this level right here, this area about around the 6.40, 6.41, in order to kind of get a nice confirmation break for maybe a possible continuation to the upside here. So basically, in order to kind of for us to start to be more comfortable with the upside, yep, we would need to see a nice break here through the upper side of the descending triangle, but a better confirmation would be a nice good close above this 6.40, 6.41 level, something approximately there. So keep your eyes on that one, and like I said, this could play out as a nice trade later on. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching and listening. I hope you found it useful, and if you want to join me tomorrow morning in my Trader's Espresso, and that's 6 o'clock GMT time, 7 o'clock British Summer Time. But for now, thank you very much, and bye-bye.